On March 21, SpaceX launched its 30th cargo mission, known as CRS-30, to the ISS for NASA, over 2721 kg of scientific supplies maintenance equipment, 2 new coffee kits, fresh fruits, vegetables, other food for station's inhabitants, are stored aboard Dragon on CRS-30, a Falcon 9 rocket carrying an uncrewed cargo Dragon spacecraft lifted off at 4:55 p.m. from Space Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. The mission was the first cargo launch from SLC-40 since March 2020. On the contrary, on same day, another vehicle was not so lucky. The Russian Soyuz spacecraft encountered an unknown problem leading to a delay. Specifically, the Soyuz MS-25 mission was prepared to launch in the morning, but the mission abort was triggered at T20 seconds after the second umbilical was retracted and prior to engine sequence start. No explanation yet from Russian flight controllers. The translated audio loop indicated launch would be delayed at least 24 hours. The NASA commentator said the next opportunity would be Saturday. According to rumors, the abort was caused by the supporting structures of the launch table, which did not move properly. Such an error is usually considered quite seriously, because it could lead to several potential issues depending on the specific circumstances and severity of the problem, one of which is safety risks. Malfunctioning supporting structures pose safety risks to personnel working on or around the launch pad. If structures fail unexpectedly during operations, it could result in injury or even loss of life. Thereby, there is no doubt that not only during the flight, but even before launch, ensuring human safety must also be emphasized. It explains why SpaceX added another layer of safety capabilities, but not in the spacecraft, in the pad instead. Indeed, on March 20th, SpaceX's President-Chief Operating Officer Gwen Shotwell shared a funny video that appeared to show her in an IV spacesuit taking the ride down the chute from Pad 40 Crew Tower in Florida. In the comment section below, many users expressed their interest in video, highly appreciating SpaceX's efforts to protect the astronauts. To be honest, that escaped chute at SLC-40 was tested once previously on February 26th and would be used in emergency to help astronauts and ground crew quickly get away from the pad. The lunar Starship will be equipped with 4 landing legs, similar to what was used during the Space shuttle days. However, instead of riding a basket from top of tower, emergency personnel will slide a chute that carries them several hundred feet away from rocket. What's more, this chute will also be used for Starship and its future commercial space flights. So it's safer than sitting in a small basket up high. The team took commercially available off-the-shelf technology and applied to the crew tower. Kiko Denev, SpaceX's vice president of launch, wrote on X, "You are trained on it the same way. You are trained on using an emergency exit door on airplane. Only takes a couple of quick physical actions to deploy the slide, and anyone can effectively do it. This system will help us scale to bigger towers and spaceships. I think 100 people on Starship," Denev wrote. As I said above, under the CRS-30 mission, Dragon's second-generation vehicle lifted off for the first time from the north end of Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, Florida. By the way, the new escape system could also get a trial run. Fortunately, everything went smoothly. No accidents were recorded. Bill Gerstenmaier, SpaceX's vice president of build flight reliability, emphasized that SpaceX was near the endgame of certifying Pad 40 to support the Dragon mission. His saying was given during a recent post-flight readiness review. Leading up to Crew 8 astronauts' launch on March 1st, we would like to do a cargo flight first if we can, and we think CRS-30 is probably the right time to do that, Gerstenmaier said. And the work's pretty much completed at the pad, got some stuff to do next week, but we'll be in good shape for CRS-30. But before continuing, if you find this information useful, let's subscribe to the channel and enable notifications to stay updated with the latest news from SpaceX World of Space. And now let's continue our episode. The addition of new infrastructure at LC-10 is considered a long-term solution for traffic congestion in LC-39A. Both SLC-40 and LC-39A were hired by SpaceX to launch their vehicles. However, since the Dragon V1 was retired, something has changed. In 2018-2019, LC-39A was outfitted for Cargo Dragon Crew Dragon mission ahead of the company's first human spaceflight mission in 2020. Since 2020, all of SpaceX's Crew Cargo launches to space station have departed from there. Additionally, the launch cadence for Dragon missions was increased drastically. This year alone, the company plans nearly 150 Falcon 9 or Falcon Heavy launches. What's an impressive number, but also causes a big problem. When you are flying rockets every 2 or 3 days, the conflict between two missions in terms of the same launch slots is inevitable. Of course, we cannot share those burdens for SLC-40, because LC-399 is the only pad currently certified for human spaceflights. It explains why the soon upgrade at the neighboring Cape Canaveral Space Force Station to expand its crew launch capacity is so important. The company is nearly there. Last fall, SpaceX workers installed a crew access arm to the launch tower, a key piece of infrastructure that allows astronauts to chew Dragon spacecraft in the last few months. The equipment necessary has been outfitted on the launch pad to support launches of human spaceflight missions on Crew Dragon spacecraft. This week, we saw the use of the newly installed launch tower and crew access ASM at SLC-40 to load time, limited experiments and supplies into the Dragon cargo bay at top of Falcon 9 rocket. Historically, Pad 40 has kind of become our high-rate pad. Sarah Walker, SpaceX's Director of Dragon Mission Management, said, "We have gotten the time between launches down to just a couple of days. We have been trying to build up redundant Dragon capability on our two neighboring pads," Walker said. "It gives us the flexibility that if there's ever a traffic conflict on 39A and two missions have to launch at the same time, one of them is a Dragon. Now we can move over to SLC-40 and prioritize both of those missions." SLC-40 is expected to serve Crew Dragon launch with astronauts later this year. NASA is in process of reviewing SpaceX's changes at SLC-40 to officially certify the pad for crew missions. Their purpose is to have SLC-40 available in time for the launch of the next space station crew. Crew 9 is scheduled to fly no earlier than August. "It's good to have that redundancy," Steve Steich, the program manager for NASA's Commercial Crew Program, said. "Something could always happen with systems at 39A, so we're really happy to have a backup pad." It's great to see the space travel industry growing rapidly and private company like SpaceX making efforts to help bring humans closer to the dream of multiplanetary life.